It's Monday, August 21st, and where would you rather be than watching First Pitch right here on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel? There's 9 games on the card now since Reds and Angels decided to be postponed here, but we're still breaking down some great slates for you here. Giants in Philly. No, it's not football season yet. It's the San Francisco Giants. Red Sox at Astros. Kansas City in Oakland. The Marlins at the Padres, and the Pirates hosting the Cards. That's the slate for us here today. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and joining me to break it all down, we got Steve Merrill, Bryan Leonard, and Dwayne Bryan in the house. Make sure you hit that like button if you're liking the shows here. Hit that subscribe so you never miss any of our great shows. And, of course, whether you agree or disagree, pop below in those comments, baby. We love hearing from you. Steve, you did a terrific job filling in for me so I could end up not even getting to go to Vegas since there was a hurricane that came instead. So at least you filled in for me, brother, but I never got called out of the bullpen, unfortunately. So appreciate that, man. But we're back here to talk a little Marlins and Padres, and both teams doubleheader sweeps that they got swept in yesterday. So who bounces back? It's got to be somebody in game one. It's a 3-game set. They're starting off in San Diego. This one not postponed. How is Steve Merrill looking to bet it?
Yeah, Dan, actually, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this game is because of the storms. And I didn't realize you didn't get out to Vegas, but glad to see you're safe in the studio. And, our producer Robert's got one heading to Texas now. Bryan Leonard, of course, hit the outskirts, hit Vegas this morning. And then Miami's had no starter listed for most of the days, but a lot of sports books now have Weathers as the starter. So how fitting is that Weathers is going to pitch in this game? And don't forget, he was with the Padres earlier this season before being dealt at the trade deadline to Miami. So it's a really interesting game to talk about, and that's why I chose it for the big game breakdown. And Waka, the starter for San Diego, also an interesting guy to talk about. He was out for over a month. Early July, went on the IL list, injured list with shoulder inflammation. He came back and made 1 minor league appearance. Didn't look that great, 3 walks in 2 innings. But then he finally made a big league start here recently and did pitch well. And I think he's going to have another good outing here tonight. And I actually don't mind the fact that Weathers might be going. His numbers are god-awful this year. He's been knocked around in the big leagues, sent down to the minors for over a month. But guys like him that are veterans, he was a first-round pick in 2018. They often step up when faced with adversity. And I actually think both starters will fare well tonight. But the bigger reason I'm leaning towards the under in this game, as you can probably tell, is just the situational setup. The distraction, as you mentioned, with the tropical storm hitting California for the first time since the 1930s, that San Diego had to deal with this. They dealt with a lot of rain for that area. Dodgers-Angels game was canceled tonight against Cincinnati. San Diego is expected to play this game because it's cleared up in that area. But still, it's hard to imagine the offenses are going to be in current form here. So I think both pitchers have some upside, and I think both offenses are going to struggle. Miami Marlins put up exactly 1 run in that doubleheader sweep loss, as you mentioned, on Saturday. They now had single-digit hits in 12 of their last 13 games. They've gone under in 8 of those 13, not in good current form offensively. And the Padres have been the biggest money burner in baseball for several years now, and they've been a huge underplay at home this season. This ballpark has not been friendly to the offenses to start with, 34-27 now to the under. But more importantly, I look at San Diego's current offensive form. This team has scored exactly 1 run in 2 of their last 4 games, and they've had exactly 1 run in 3 of their last 7, single-digit hits also in 5 straight and 6 of their last 7. So I think under 8.5 makes some sense tonight in this Miami-San Diego game.
So who bounces back? Steve says, I don't really care. I'm looking at the total. Check him out, WT.buzz/SM. I love it, my guy. And Bryan Leonard pulling a little double duty here. He was on WagerTalk today earlier, breaking down some games. Unfortunately, going to have to double up since the weather just continuing not to agree with us here. But a fresh one for you here, Bri, is San Francisco at Philadelphia. I mean, this is an ultra-important 3-game set for my homer ass and the Phillies against the Giants here. So, Bri, they looked like little leaguers themselves yesterday in that MLB Little Leaguer Classic. So, what do we think? This slump continues? Are you telling me my Phils are going to stay not looking too good at home, or is it bounce back time? What do you think, Bri?
Yeah, it's interesting that I had 2 plays on the earlier one, and unfortunately one of them was canceled a little bit later. I'm sorry about that for anybody who had to get in on that. But yeah, we are taking a look at the San Francisco-Philadelphia game. I think, and you kind of touched on it with the Little League World Series and everything. If you've watched any of the film from that, Philadelphia, both teams actually had to put in a full day's work. I mean, they were hanging out with the kids, signing autographs and everything. So that was a full day's work out there. And now they've got to get on a plane after one day and travel again. I think that hurts them here. I think it's something that's going to have an effect on this game tonight. Scott Alexander has been very solid for the Giants. He's got a 4.06 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. And those are legitimate numbers when you take a look at his advanced stats. His xFIP is 4.02, and his Sierra comes in at 3.96. His fly ball percentage of fly ball percentage of 19.7%, and his home run to fly ball percentage of 4.2% are really what you want to see when you're looking at a good hitter's park like Philadelphia has right there. A lot of teams go in there and have really good home run days, and going up against Scott Alexander, he's a guy who doesn't give up a lot of those home runs, a lot of fly balls. So I think that's a big advantage for San Francisco here. Aaron Nola has a 1.15 WHIP and a 4.58 ERA, and his advanced numbers shows he's due for some regression, but we just can't get over his fastball velocity being in the 20th percentile. This is a guy who had good fastball in his career. He's been a big strikeout guy. 20th percentile on the fastball rate this year, not very good. And you take a look at his barrel percentage, it's the highest of his career. So even though Aaron Nola's due for a little bit positive regression, don't like the pitching matchup here like San Francisco, and you get him as a nice underdog.
Yeah, and if there's anything Aaron Nola likes doing, it's giving up homers at home. So hop below in the comments. You think he's going to get taken yard early in this one? And if so, maybe we can get some plus money on a home run prop. Who do you like to hit a home run in the San Francisco Giants visiting the Philadelphia Phillies? That's our man, Bryan Leonard. Dwayne Bryant's getting some love there in the chat for your trends report. I couldn't agree more. I hopped in there myself and said, if you're not checking it out, I don't know what you're doing. Make sure you're subscribed here to WagerTalk TV. But Dwayne, let's talk a little Red Sox at Houston. It's all been the peaks and the valleys for the Sox, man. It's 8 wins in their last 11 after they dropped 8 of their previous 10. So it's up, it's down. They just swept the Yankees. Do they stay hot in Houston to open the 4-game set? What do we think?
Yeah, guys, I appreciate the love on the MLB Trend Report. It makes it worth my while to do that. I picked this game for my big game breakdown, mostly because of the situational aspect of this game. You got Boston, who just swept their arch rival Yankees in New York. So that begs the question, is this a letdown spot for them? Then you look at Houston. They just got swept at home by their division rival Seattle. So this is a very interesting situation. And speaking of the MLB Trend Report, I had somebody in the comments this morning that asked about this specific situation. And I looked it up. And teams in this spot like Houston that are coming off getting swept in a 3-game series at home and are facing a team that just completed a 3-game sweep against a division rival. Since 2013, these teams are 12-1 if they're a home favorite like Houston is today. Houston's also got the 4th best WRC plus at home against left-handed pitching at 127. That's 27% above average. When you look at the pitchers in this game, James Paxton, my concern with him is that he's coming on 4 days rest here. He's only done that twice this season. And in the next start, he only lasted a total of 7 innings in those 2 games and gave up 6 runs. So there's a good chance we see some middle relief on the Boston side of this game. And then on the other side, you've got Christian Javier. He's off 3 subpar starts, but those were all on the road. His last quality start was also his last home start, which was back on July 28th. So maybe he gets back on track here. I have not bet this game as of yet. I definitely do have a lean to Houston, though, just based on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I said a strong breakdown there from my man Dwayne Bryant. Just a lean, but that's why it's in the big game breakdown. You can draw your own conclusions. Let us know what you're thinking in that Boston and Houston game right below in those comments while you're down there. Throw us a like. Steve Merrill, best bet time And you want to take a look for the battle of who's worse in the NL Central. It's the Cards and the Pirates. And apropos, you're saying I'm taking both of these teams out of it as far as the win perspective. We have a total we're talking here for a guy who has a 2-for-1 special up. Steve, how are we betting Cards Pirates?
Yeah, don't forget, it's $9 Monday. $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All plays are $9. In fact, I made it $4.50 Monday because I took both of my best bets tonight. Now, you can get them each for $9, or you can get a 2-for-1 special for $9. So it's really $4.50 Monday. A powerful 2-for-1 bonus. 2 plays for just $9. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And now here's a game that was just a bit outside for making the cut. A free play for tonight on Monday. And the reason this missed the cut is because Pittsburgh still has technically not named their starter. It's looking like it might be Thomas Hatch, who has been traded over from Toronto. And Hatch was very mediocre with the Blue Jays this season. But as is often the case, he's gotten a new life with his new team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. In 3 appearances so far, a solid 2.8 ERA. So if it is Hatch, I like the under even more. But regardless of who the starters are, it looks like St. Louis, by the way, is going with Drew Rom, who came over also trade deadline from the Baltimore Orioles when they picked up Flaherty from the Cardinals. Rom was on the Orioles for 2 games, but never got appearances earlier this year. So this will be his true major league debut. And one thing I always like is to play maiden starters in MLB because the other teams are not familiar with them. So with both Hatch and Rom possibly going tonight, I think the offenses will struggle. But even if we get a different starter for Pittsburgh, I still like the under in this game just due to current offensive momentum. This is a big total, 10 to the under, for 2 offenses that are not hitting the ball well. St. Louis, misleading 7-3 win against the Mets yesterday on Sunday. And as is often the case, we get weird results on Sunday daytime games. Cardinals were ice cold offensively 4 games in a row before that. They scored 2 runs or less, single-digit hits in each of those 4 games. And now they travel without rest after that home series. A little bit of a sluggish spot here for St. Louis. And the Pirates are definitely a sluggish offensive team that returns home with no rest after 6 road games. And they did not look good, putting up 1 run and no runs in 2 of their last 3 games in Minnesota, including the shutout loss yesterday on Sunday. So 2 slumping offenses, both had to travel with no rest, and possibly 2 play-on young pitchers here, which the opposing teams won't be familiar with. Take a look at under 10 between the Cardinals and Pirates tonight on Monday. And don't forget, 2 totals are even stronger. And by the way, from 2020 to 2022, that 3-year span, I was number 1 in MLB totals, and I've got 2 strong ones going tonight. 2-for-1 special, $9 Monday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Looking towards the under 10 in Cards Pirates. That's one that opened at 10.5, juice to the under, and all the unders looking juice. You want to grab that 10 sooner rather than later, while we still don't know who pitcher number 2 in that matchup is going to be. And Steve Merrill saying grab that under 10 now. And the 2-for-1 special, I love it. A little 450 Monday. Marketing out of my man Steve there. Bryan Leonard joining us here. And Bry, man, it's a little bit of an echo in here as you were forced to go back-to-back talking about this game thanks to Mother Nature. But I'm interested to hear. We got Dwayne's take, maybe a lean towards the Astros, but you have a little bit stronger of a feel on this one, and that's what makes these panels great. How are you betting this one, Bry?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've got things for both these games. It was just talked about Rom going for St. Louis. He's a lefty, and lefties, I like to ride them early on in their playing careers. Lefties seem to do better than righties when it comes to these young pitchers that nobody knows about. So I think we got a nice winner there for Steve, at least from that end. Unfortunately, I don't agree with Dwayne, but I fully understand what he's talking about when we're talking about the spot here for Houston. Team that was just swept from Seattle, and then we've got Boston just beat the Yankees. Obviously, if you're a situational player, this is probably the spot where you're looking for Houston. And as was mentioned, Houston's very good against lefties. They rank 3rd in Major League Baseball in WRC+. So many reasons to play on Houston here, but I still think Boston has the nice pitching advantage here. James Paxton enters with a 1.14 whip, 3.34 ERA. His advanced stats, if you're taking a look at that, they agree with those figures. They've shown how well James Paxton has pitched this year. Christian Javier, just the opposite. He's got a 1.12 whip, which isn't bad, but a 4.49 ERA. But if you take a look at his xFIP, it comes in at 5.23. His Sierra is at 4.82. So he's been pretty lucky so far this year. And if you take a look at his home ERA, it's 3.19, which is very good, but his xFIP in this same building, 5.06. So there are plenty of reasons to bet against Javier here. And I just simply don't trust Javier as a favorite here. Boston's playing really good ball right now. If you look at a situational play, fully understand the Houston side, but I just think that gives us better advantage here on a money line here for Boston. And we've been so hot on underdogs as of late. It's another one of my spots where I think an underdog is live. So we'll take it here with Boston.
Yeah, anytime Bryan is making a case for an underdog, I perk up and listen. In the last 55 dog plays for Bryan and his clients, up over 58 net units. He's on a 7-1 overall run in Major League Baseball. So seeing it well. And man, I love when there's a plus next to a team's name. And Bryan has been hitting them with regularity here. Check him out for $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. And let's swing it on down. Dwayne Bryant's going to get the last word. And naturally, Dwayne, we have to talk about the biggest game on the card tonight to end it. It's Royals and A's, baby. Two worst records in baseball facing off tonight. And thankfully, with your best bet, you're like, I don't care about either of these teams winning this game. We're looking towards the total, Dwayne. What do we think here, man?
Well, Dan, Steve, Bryan, good luck to you guys today. Good luck to our viewers as well. Special thanks to Brian Leonard for playing the role of Marco D'Angelo and disagreeing with me for today. Yeah, I mean, I like the over 8.5 in this game. It was even money when I sent it to the producers this morning. I think the consensus is like minus 110 right now. We're listing Tucker Davidson and Paul Blackburn. Blackburn's coming off his best start of the season, 7 shutout innings. And so that made me look him up as well. And, you know, he's got a 5.12 ERA and a 163 whip in 9 career starts when he's not given up a run and gone at least 6 innings in his previous start. Then we look at Tucker Davidson. He's making his 25th appearance of the season, but his first start. So my first question when I saw that was, how long is this guy going to last? My guess is probably not more than 4 innings, and 5 is probably pushing it. Oakland, actually, as bad a team as they are, their advanced metrics against left-handed pitching are actually pretty good, especially at home. They got a 111 WRC plus at home against lefties. It's 12th best in the league, 11% above average. And if we need some runs late in the game, we've got 2 of the lousiest bullpens in MLB. And I say it all the time, it only takes one reliever to have an off day to ruin an under. I know that painfully firsthand. So, there's the argument that KC doesn't score many runs, and that's true. But the over is actually 13-4 this year when Oakland's at home against an American League opponent that is averaging 4.4 or less runs per game on the season. And that 13-4 includes 8 straight overs. And Oakland allowed those offensively challenged teams to average 7.1 runs per game. I do want to see who the home plate umpire is before I actually bet this. But as long as it's not somebody with a small strike zone or somebody along the lines of a Bill Miller, I'm probably going to be on the over 8.5 in this one.
Man, the thing I love about this show, I do a lot of watching content across the space, and I don't know where else anybody's giving out 6 different best bets in under 20 minutes, only here on First Pitch on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. So if you like it, all we ask you to do, hit that like button and subscribe. We also ask you to give a thanks to these guys. I mean, they're the ones giving out the action for you on $9 Monday. You never tried them out before. Now's the day to check them out at a great price. And that's going to do it for us. Big thanks to my crew, Steve Merrill, Dwayne Bryant, and Bryan Leonard. And if you want more actionable info, you don't have to go anywhere. Right here, check out Wager Talk today on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. Get ready to go for the first national television game of the college football season. And we'll see you tomorrow right here on First Pitch.